Scheana Shay is blasting Billie Lee for her drama with Tom Sandoval's girlfriend. We have Kenya Moore, who's calling out Sandoval after getting suspended from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And Leah McSweeney's got another court filing for Andy Cohen. Yay, let's get into it. You're listening to No Filter with Zach Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What up? Welcome on in, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you guys had a great weekend. It was my fucking birthday, as Stassi Schroeder would say. It was my birthday on Saturday, so I got to enjoy a birthday weekend with the family. And then obviously Sunday was Father's Day, so if you have a daddy, a baby daddy, or a father that you got to celebrate with, I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you did some barbecuing, maybe you put some dogs on the grill, or maybe you were just, schlucking down some dogs for your daddy. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Happy Monday. We have a lot to get into. Actually, one little tidbit update, because I know we were talking about all the Teen Mom stuff, and I was geeking out about Teen Mom. What was it, Wednesday's episode or Thursday's episode? And we were talking about Janelle. I went on a full deep dive, I think on Friday, and I was just watching all the montage videos of Barb and Janelle. Well, Janelle, it was great. It was funny. I was reading the comments to what people were saying because I was catching up because I haven't watched Teen Mom in a really long time, and I haven't seen any of the newer seasons. But obviously now with Amber Portwood and her fiance going missing, I was catching up on it, and it was really good. And I was reading the comments, and the comments were really funny. People were every time you heard "Well, Janelle," you knew that Barb was about to drop the mic. She was about to drop some gems. She was about to really lay into Janelle. But it seems like Janelle's doing better. I think she's returning to this season of Teen Mom. I don't think she's coming back full time, but I think she makes a cameo appearance this season and updates us on how she's doing. And she recently, for those that haven't followed up with Teen Mom but watched it back in the day, she finally got custody of her son Jace. Because remember, Barb had to take in Jace, and Barb was raising Jace and got custody of Jace. And then, Janelle couldn't get her shit together, even though Barb kept giving her so many chances and trying to help her. And, well, Janelle, finally, Janelle got her custody back of Jace, which was actually kind of nice to see. So congrats to Janelle. Also, we have a new season of Disaster Daters that is coming July 2nd, so get ready for it. It is, it's wild. I'm just going to tell you that right now. We have Tom Schwartz on premiere day, which is July 2nd. So we have 2 episodes that are dropping, an episode that Jeff and I taped of Disaster Daters, and then an episode of Disaster Daters that we taped with Tom Schwartz, talking about dating after divorce. It's a good one. So get ready, mark your calendar, subscribe now if you haven't. Disaster Daters returns for an all-new season July 2nd. So get ready. The reason I brought up Teen Mom was because Amber Portwood, last week we saw that her fiance had gone missing because they'd gotten into some sort of emotional conversation, and then he left and nobody had heard from him for days, and then he was spotted at a Walgreens, and then he was spotted 900 miles away in Oklahoma at a Verizon store, and he didn't have his phone on him. All the stuff, right? Well, the case has now been closed. They found him. The police are no longer looking for him. He's been found. Case is closed. He's no longer a missing person, which all that drama, what did it get me? Literally nothing. It got her a breakup. I'm pretty sure he wasn't too happy about he probably seemed to run away from her. And I even saw people were commenting on my post and damn, he could have just broken up with her. He didn't have to run 900 miles away and leave her hanging. He was like, fine, you're done with me. Peace. But everyone immediately was jumping to the conclusion that she had whacked him. Even her ex, Gary Shirley, her first baby daddy, even he was he posted something about finding the missing fiance, and then he tagged Carol Baskin. Carol Baskin killed her husband, whacked him. Can convince me that it didn't happen. So I was like, Gary Shirley getting messy. Could you imagine if she really did whack him and he tagged Carol Baskin trying to be funny? Obviously she didn't really whack him, but still the fact that Gary even tagged Carol Baskin in the "let's find her missing fiance" post. I was like, Gary, that's your baby mama. That's your daughter's mother. Ay. Just crazy times. But anyway, Gary 2.0 has been found. They found him. We haven't heard from Amber since then, but all the other teen moms are coming to her defense and saying she absolutely did not whack her fiance, and good for her. Okay, what do we want to start with? Let's start with the Leah McSweeney stuff because that's a little. We can just breeze right over that. She's back. Guess who's back? Back again. Leah's back. Leah's back. So Leah McSweeney, formerly of the Real Housewives of New York, has updated her lawsuit against Bravo and Andy and the production company. So she's updating her lawsuit, but the updates that she makes, the new documents that she files in court, are specific to Andy Cohen, because now she's claiming that Andy tried to bully her into silence by threatening her publicly and trying to disparage her name in the press. And he tried to blackball her. And all of this was in retaliation for her trying to sue him. I'm just like, really? Really? It's just like, she also claims that he's trying to scare other stars from speaking out against him in the future, trying to prevent trying to muzzle the other housewives and using her as an example, basically. And it just feels silly at this point because it's not an attempt to silence you. It's an attempt to have your defamatory statements retracted. Like, if her issue is with the network, then okay, fine, go after the network. Andy's no longer an executive at Bravo. And he wasn't an executive when she was even on Bravo. So that's the other part that I don't understand. And all this like alleged, pasta usage behind the scenes of Watch What Happens Live, like, it sounds salacious, but it didn't affect her directly. So it's irrelevant to her lawsuit. It's irrelevant to her case. And essentially it's hearsay unless she has a firsthand account of what she witnessed and she's willing to testify to that. Then that could help her case. But outside of that, this does nothing for her case other than use Andy to gain some headlines, because that's what made the story so much more salacious and got all the press to pick it up. Leah coming after Andy. That's why we're still talking about it now, which was Andy's point in saying, hey, retract this statement or face possible litigation for defamation, which to me sounds standard. If somebody makes an egregious claim about you that's false, you can threaten to sue them for defamation because it's false and it can harm your reputation, right? And Leah doesn't know whether the pasta usage was real or not real because she didn't witness any of it, nor was she offered any pasta. I don't know. For all we do know she's now gluten-free. She abstains from any substances. So listen, I haven't heard him try to trash her in any of his interviews. All his latest press has really just been fluff pieces to rehab his own image rather than hurt hers. I feel like she's doing a pretty good job of hurting her own image all on her own. But his crisis PR team is just trying to make sure they position him in a positive light rather than positioning her in a negative light. Any negative press that she's getting is really coming from her own drama. And then her claim that he's trying to silence other people from speaking out. Like, many housewives have now gone on record to defend him. There aren't many that have come out against him aside from Leah and Brandi Glanville. And neither of them seem scared of him. And I don't think any of the other housewives are scared of him. What they're scared of is losing their jobs, because they know that if they sue the network, they're probably not going to end up getting cast on the show in the future. So what they're really scared of is losing their fame. What they're really scared of is no longer being in this world that they love to be in, right? It's not like they need this job out of necessity, because they can very easily go work at Walgreens if they wanted to, right? Or they can live off of a sugar daddy, or they can marry, somebody that can help pay the bills. They can do a million other things that can bring in a source of income for them. Housewives have gotten fired all the time. I don't see any of them homeless on the streets, okay? They're fully capable of doing work outside of being on the Real Housewives, but they have electively chosen and continue to choose to be on these reality shows. Why? Because they like the money that they're getting. They like the fame that they're getting. They like being popular in culture. The Housewives has become peak pop culture at the moment, and they like being a part of that. They love being at BravoCon. They love going to events and people taking selfies with them. That's what they want. That's what they don't want to lose, because they enjoy the arena that they signed up for. Not because they're scared that they're going to lose their income. They're fully capable of working. They had jobs before the show, and they will all have jobs after the show. So, no, I don't think that they're scared of Andy retaliating against them because, I mean, even if they're choosing to continue to play in this environment. They're choosing to continue to sign up, put their shield on and go into the gladiators den. Like they're going into the Coliseum and they're ready to play ball. They have an audience around them that's cheering them on, and that's what they love. They love the audience cheering them on. They love the adoration from the crowd. They love the fame. They love the money. They love being part of Housewives' world. So, sorry, Leah's not part of Housewives world anymore. But if anybody's blacklisting her, it's herself because she's biting the hand that once fed her. And when you bite the hand that feeds you, nobody else is looking to start feeding you. Nobody else is like, oh, yeah, let me sign up for that one because that looks like a fun one to invest in. No, they're like, she turned on the network. We're not going to bring her to our network. Why would we? Understandably, why would you? You bite the hand that feeds you, you fuck yourself over. You blackballed yourself. And nobody's bullying you into silence because you won't shut up. Period. End of story. Okay. That's the update on Leah. Then we'll get into the Sheena, the Critics' Choice Awards, and let's talk about Kenya. Oh, this is going to be a spicy conversation. Okay. So, Kenya Moore, I want to say I don't often, like, I have ideas and I have notes, but I don't often come into these shows with like wanting to go on the contrarian side. I just go on whatever side is honest and I kind of just read the news and I read some of my notes and then I go off on tangents from there. So I just want you to know like my opinions are just how I see it and how I feel. I feel like I shouldn't have to preface that, but yeah. But so anyway, Kenya Moore was suspended indefinitely from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Okay. Report came last week and has been continuing to unfold over the weekend. So I don't really understand what suspended indefinitely mean. Like it sounds like she's fired. Like why not just say we fired her? I don't understand why they've suspended her, but then she's suspended indefinitely. What is indefinitely? Means for an unlimited or unspecified period of time. Okay. I kind of took it as unlimited, but if it's unspecified, then that's fine. But suspended indefinitely. Well, I guess I was just listening to The Skinny Confidential with Lauren Everts and Michael Bostic. Lauren Everts, well, I guess Lauren Bostic now because she's married to him, and I think she's dropped the Everts. But Lauren was a mentor of mine, and helped me build what I have today. Um, like an actual mentor, and we would have meetings, and she would give me notes and ideas and stuff. So I adore Lauren, and I love their podcast. But I was listening to it, and they had Tommy Lauren on. And if anybody's familiar with Tommy Lauren, I know a lot of people hate her, and she knows a lot of people hate her. But it was an interesting conversation because it was about, um, you know, a lot of different things. But for people that don't know her, she's this real pretty blonde woman, very conservative, like young Megan Kelly, like on 10, or on 100, really, because she's very outspoken. She's very unfiltered. Um, the conservatives don't really like her. The liberals definitely don't like her. But anyway, she was on the Skinny Confidential, and I was listening to it, and she talks about getting fired from um, the Blaze, I think it was. She got fired from one of those companies. And she talks about because how she went on The View, and she talked about being pro-choice, and then they suspended her indefinitely after going on The View and saying that she's pro-choice. And her argument was like, well, I'm just anti-government. Like I'm for as little government as possible. So I don't think the government should regulate that. Right. So she classified herself as pro-choice, but pro-choice like across the board with full body autonomy. And obviously the network that she worked for was conservative. And so they had suspended her indefinitely as a result of that. And so it's funny because this is a term that people seem to use, but I'm like, but what does that mean? Because Tommy was talking about how now she ended up suing the network for suspending her indefinitely. I wonder if I'm suspended. Well, I haven't officially. Sorry, random tangent. Side note, but it's unclear what that means, right? It kind of just means we're putting you in a holding period, and you're kind of just stuck there. So, I mean, if Tommy was able to sue, I believe it was the Blaze, and forgive me if I'm misquoting that. But if Tommy was able to sue them for, suspending her indefinitely for those comments that she made, then it's interesting that I feel like Kenya probably may also have I don't want Kenya to sue the network. I just want to say that. I don't want her to sue the network. But at the same time, I do understand how people like Brandy Glanville are getting upset and now coming out. Leah McSweeney is another thing. Leah and like the Rachel and like those dumb lawsuits are dumb. But when it comes to like Brandy's claims about being like, I was once paraded for my bad behavior, and that's why they employ us is to behave badly, you know, now the game has changed. And I think the game has changed because the fans have become fucking loud ass crybabies on the internet. And they're just like, oh my God, this shows are so toxic. We need like less toxicity. And then you also have, you know, the other housewives that they don't get a fair edit or they don't get, you know, whatever they feel they're entitled to. And then they suddenly become bitter and they become Leah McSweeney's and then want to get Sue happy, right? So I don't want Kenya to sue the network, but I do think Kenya may have a case against the network if Tommy Lauren was able to win her case against her network for being suspended indefinitely. But like, okay, so for those that don't remember, Kenya Moore had a hair care event, and at the hair care event, she allegedly showed photos of one of the new cast members. I believe her name is Britt. Photos of her performing, you know, fellatio on someone else. Now, what she actually showed, I feel like it's unclear because the reports have been mixed. They say that she did show actual photos of her performing fellatio. I've also heard that it wasn't a real penis that was on, like it was her face with like a fake dick on it. I also heard that the photos were already released online and they were like from OnlyFans. I don't know exactly what she released. I'll just say that. I don't know what photos she showed exactly. I haven't seen them myself and I've heard conflicting reports. But so she showed some graphic images at her event that involved this new co star. I believe her name is Britt. So now it's become an issue of revenge porn. Because remember, we were talking about revenge porn. We learned a lot about revenge porn in class when we were reading the Rachel Leviss lawsuit, right? So now it's become a question of whether or not this is revenge porn. Kenya Moore made a statement when the reports were originally coming out that she did not commit revenge porn, and she released her statement and explained how what she did was not considered revenge porn. However, revenge porn does still fall into the category of um, the photos. Well, that's the biggest piece of revenge porn is these photos had to have been intimate with the understanding that they were supposed to stay private or confidential. Because there are a few different elements to revenge porn. There's the privacy part of it, the confidentiality that these photos are supposed to be private and not made public or not shared with anybody else. And then there's also that's the porn piece of it. And then there's the revenge piece of it where you're showing them publicly to shame them, to embarrass them. There has to be an element of I'm trying to get back at you for something. There has to be a revenge piece of it, right? So there's just the explicit photos or videos, the explicit content, and then there's the intent behind releasing that. Now that can be released to a group of people, that can be released at an event, that can be released on the internet. Like those those terms, I guess the defining boundaries of that has evolved over the years. Whereas initially it was just against publishing online, and now it's grown to sending the photos around to other people, and in this case, showcasing them publicly. Now, does it meet the criteria for revenge porn if these photos were already on the internet? If they are like OnlyFans photos? No, I don't think that then qualifies under revenge porn, even though there is the revenge element of it, but it doesn't have the criteria for the expectation that these images are meant to remain private. However, that would be a copyright violation, and we've seen this happen in the past with other OnlyFans creators or celebrities that go on OnlyFans, that when they go on and they publish their photos, if those photos end up on the internet, like on Reddit, on Twitter, you know, on Tumblr, I don't think Tumblr is a thing anymore, but Reddit or Twitter is most commonly where people will circulate or publish those images from OnlyFans, from OF. In that case, it is copyright infringement because those images are not yours to be repurposing or publishing online. They're meant to stay on the OF creator's account, and that's where it is. That's where it stays. So I know creators have had their photos removed from other platforms with copyright violation claims. So again, all of these things, it's all very new, and the whole topic of revenge porn is still something that's new and ever evolving as the internet and as technology grows and evolves as well. So Kenya Moore was suspended for this. indefinitely. Again, we don't know what that means. We don't know if that's for the rest of the season. We don't know. Wasn't she suspended before? Or no, Portia was suspended before. Remember, for beating her up at the reunion? But that's what I mean. Like this, I guess, I don't know. I don't know. But at one point, these crazy, wild antics were what made the show. And a lot of people, a lot of the fans, when they heard the news of Kenya revealing these photos, they're like, oh my God, Kenya Moore is back. Or they felt like it was a desperate attempt at, trying to create a moment for the show. Regardless, it was with the intention of trying to create a moment for the show, So it gets into dicey territory of like, well, the expectation is that they're going to come on the show and that they're going to do these crazy, outlandish things that are going to make the show more entertaining. But then at the same time, if they keep getting reprimanded for all of this behavior, like Brandy getting reprimanded for, whatever went down with Caroline Manzo, which Brandy's been cleared of from the investigation, from what the network and the production company have provided in court, the evidence that they've provided in court. So I don't know. It's hard because I get like Brandy and Kenya's side of this, where they're like, we've done these things and we're meant to be crazy and outlandish. And, at one point, this was entertainment television and we were doing these things for the sake of entertaining the crowd. And, it was fun for a while. And now all of a sudden we're being, reprimanded for this behavior that we were once praised for. Right. When we would have these big, crazy antics, people were praised for that. And now all of a sudden that's changed. But I also feel like even media has changed, right? Like even the coverage that these things get, like when Phaedra was let go from the show for the allegations that she essentially made about Portia and Candy, that, was a form of a repercussion for something that she did on the show. Now, I don't know. It's weird. But the other women, or it's not weird, but it's layered. 'Cause then I feel like there wasn't as much coverage, there wasn't as many, fake journalists on Twitter and Instagram that, think that they're real reporters that are, like, breaking the news. Um, and I say that because 'cause I've been very clear, I don't consider myself a reporter or a journalist, as I know other people do. I'm a commentator, which is its own, fields, but I consider myself a commentator and a podcaster rather than I consider myself a reporter or a journalist. I didn't go to school for any of those things. Well, actually, I did. I did go to college for this, but I never got my degree in any of those things for journalism or PR. But it's interesting, right? The lady Kenya went on Instagram Live, and she said, "I'm not going anywhere," and then all of the other ladies seem to be supporting Kenya and defending Kenya. Portia, um, yeah, all the Drew, like, they all seem to be backing Kenya up and supporting her. So, I don't know. There's something to that too. I mean, but it's also like how all the women supported Brandy after the Morocco Ultimate Girls Trip with the allegations against Caroline Manzo. They all came out and supported Brandy. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But the interesting thing that happened over the weekend too is Kenya reposted or retweeted a post of someone comparing her situation to Tom Sandoval, where they're like, how is it that Tom Sandoval it still has a job considering he recorded Rachel Leviss without her permission, right? And so Kenya's basically alluding to the double standard of Sandoval being able to record Rachel and still be able to film Vanderpump Rules and still be able to go and film this new season of The Traitors. And meanwhile, Kenya's suspended for, showing these images at this event. And now here's where it's different, though, because I understand the point that she's trying to make about how there are double standards. But I think there are double standards because there is no standard. There is no precedent, right? Bravo is trying to just NBC, like they're trying to navigate this as it all kind of continues to unfold. And that's where you see people like Brandy Glanville that end up in the discard pile because Bravo is trying to protect the network. They're trying to protect themselves. And unfortunately, there are casualties. There is collateral damage. And some of these housewives are having to become collateral damage as the network tries to protect itself. And I think Kenya may be another one of those casualties, depending on how they approach this moving forward. But we also saw, remember Jennifer, Aiden, and Danielle Cabral, they got suspended for a temporary time when they got into their physical altercation this season, which I guess is going to unfold next week, which I guess we're not even going to get to see because based off of the previews for next week's episode of Jersey, they black it out. They black the screen out and we don't really get to see what the altercation was necessarily. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But the reason I think Kenya's situation is different from Sandoval's situation, one, Sandoval's recording, which was his recording of Rachel Leviss when they were on FaceTime together, that recording didn't happen on the network's dime and it didn't happen on the network's time. So it wasn't something that happened after the season had wrapped. It's something that happened after the season had wrapped between Tom and Rachel on their own time privately. Kenya, however, did this while filming Real Housewives of Atlanta in front of a crowd, on camera, in what is considered a public forum. So what Tom and Rachel did was on their own time. What Kenya did was on the show. Or for the show, essentially. And then two, Tom Sandoval is currently denying the allegations of eavesdropping, invasion of privacy, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. And from what we've seen, I have not heard Rachel amending her lawsuit to continue to fight for intentional infliction of emotional distress after the judge has dismissed that claim. So she's still going against him right now for eavesdropping and invasion of privacy. I believe she still has a little bit of time left to update or amend her complaint to still include intentional infliction of emotional distress. But right now, she's still going after him for eavesdropping and invasion of privacy. And we've discussed this and kind of dissected this a bit in the past as well, right? And whether or not it is intentional infliction of emotional distress whether it is eavesdropping or invasion of privacy, because with eavesdropping, the other person doesn't know that they're being watched, whereas in this case, she was consenting to a conversation with Sandoval, and then invasion of privacy, was there, he technically did not share that video with anybody else. He kept that video on his phone privately. She was sharing herself in this FaceTime broadcast under the impression that it was going to be private between him and her, and he kept that veil of privacy between him and her. Right? It was never shared until Ariana went into his phone. And so, I mean, he could then legally go after Ariana for illegally getting into his phone and accessing that information that he can argue she wasn't entitled to. I doubt he's going to do that. And I don't think he should do that. But I'm just saying she's going after him for eavesdropping and invasion of privacy. And those have its own unique criteria. Whether or not that doesn't mean that what he did morally wasn't wrong. It was still wrong what he did. However, does it break the law when it comes to eavesdropping and invasion of privacy? You have to look at the criteria for eavesdropping. And eavesdropping is where somebody is in a place where they believe that they're private and it's just them and they're not being watched or recorded by anybody else. And in this case, I mean, it's eavesdropping is essentially like a peeping Tom, right? Where somebody is peeking in on someone that's, in an intimate area where they're under the impression that nobody else has seen them. In this case, consent was given to Tom Sandoval to see these images of Rachel on FaceTime. And then invasion of privacy, he technically didn't violate that because it still remained private. Those images were still privately only shared between Tom and Rachel until Ariana went into his phone and accessed them. So that's no different than Rachel taking naughty photos, printing them out on Polaroids, handing them to him, and him putting them in a box in his bedroom in his top underwear drawer. And then Ariana going into his bedroom, opening the underwear drawer, accessing the box, and finding the photos, right? And then taking a picture of the photos with her phone. So that's where it gets a little different. I'm not trying to defend Sandoval. I'm just going based off of the law and the criteria as defined in the court of law. So it'll be interesting. He recorded Rachel, but he's denying that it was done with any malicious intent, or that it was maliciously done without her consent either. Kenya can't deny that she showed the photos because she literally blew them up, printed them out, showed them while on camera, knowing that this would be broadcast to an audience in an attempt to embarrass this woman. And the network has liability with Kenya because it was done on their time while Kenya was being paid to do a job for them. So they do have more liability. And unfortunately, Rachel's reputation, I think, has already suffered because of the inconsistencies of her stories already, that I think that also hurts the legitimacy of her case. So we'll see where it goes from here. And then I want to look at the live chat and see what you guys are saying about all of this, because I'm sure you have thoughts and feelings about all of it, and you're very much entitled to all of those thoughts and feelings for sure. But listen, if the summer heat has you worrying about the strength of your deodorant, then listen up, okay? I'm about to turn you on to the only deodorant you'll ever need, and it's called Lumi Whole Body Deodorant. It's formulated for all places that tend to get a little sticky when the weather warms up, like your pits, your privates, your feet. I use it all over. Put it to the test at the gym, and even when running around downtown with the dogs in the summer, it really does work. I'm telling you, you're going to want to try, you're going to want to try some Lumi whole body deodorant, because it smells yummy, and it's going to make you look confident and, trust that you're not going to be stinky in the summer. And not only does it go everywhere other deodorants don't go, but it's also outrageously effective. One application in the morning is clinically proven to block odor all day. So even if the summer feels like you're in Texas, or you literally are in Texas, you don't need to worry. Lumi has you covered with 72-hour odor control. So if you're ready to make this your freshest summer yet, I got a special offer for you. New customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code and link. That's code NOFILTER at LumiDeodorant.com. That's 15% off all Lumi products, okay? So if you're a new customer and you haven't tried Lumi yet, this is your chance. Use code NOFILTER for 15% off all Lumi products. Lumi is spelled L-U-M-E, so go to Lumi, L-U-M-E, deodorant, DEODORANT, Lumi, LUME, DEODORANT, LumiDeodorant.com right now. Also, wanted to remind you guys that today's episode is sponsored by the ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program. In today's world, we insure a lot, right? From cars and homes to cell phones and even travel plans. But what about the insurance of your cat and dog? With ASPCA Pet Health Insurance, you can focus on the care that your pet deserves and cover what matters most. The ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program offers customizable accident and illness plans, making it easier for pet parents like you and me to help your pet get the care that they may need. I want to keep my Sky and my Sally healthy and strong, and having something like the ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program definitely helps ensure that our furry friends are always well kept. The ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program has been around for over 18 years, and they've helped more than 600,000 pets during that time. They allow you to customize your plan, helping to ensure that your pet's plan is as unique as they are. Because listen, vet bills can really add up, if you know what I mean, especially when you're least expecting it. It's simple. Use their app to submit a claim, and you'll receive reimbursement for eligible vet bills directly into your bank account. To explore coverage, visit aspcapetinsurance.com/no-filter. That's ASPCA petinsurance.com/no-filter. Again, that's ASPCA petinsurance.com/no-filter. This is a paid advertisement. Insurance is underwritten by either Independence American Insurance Company or United States Fire Insurance Company and produced by PTZ Insurance Agency Limited. The ASPCA is not an insurer and is not engaged in the business of insurance. There you go. Okay, back to the tea. So we talked about Sandoval and Kenya. Let's see what you guys are saying in the live chat, and then we'll get into the Sheena and the Billie of it all. Oof. Live chat is fired up. Mallory says, I've been watching old Real Housewives of Atlanta and I'm at the end of season 3. And damn, Kim seems like a real fever dream. She really was. I love when I see that old clip of her when she's in her car with her glass of Chardonnay and her cigarette and she's singing for Sheree. And then Sheree is like talking to the camera and she's like, wow, I didn't realize she had such a beautiful voice. Like she's got all the looks, but and a beautiful voice too. I'm just like, Sheree, you're living in Delulu land. Distinguished guest says Kenya will be remembered. That's what she wanted. True that. But she doesn't want to just be remembered. She wants to also be she doesn't want to just be remembered. She wants to also be on the show. Like she doesn't want to be let go. She wants to stay on TV. She wants to stay relevant. Nikki B says you can't apply California law to Georgia. Very true. Yes, and that's how revenge porn is defined in California. Oh, well, I guess wait, are you trying to say that I'm comparing, um, Rachel? Oh, I guess you're referring to the tweet where people are like, "How can Tom get away with revenge porn and Kenya cannot?" Well, also to be clear, um Tom Sandoval is not being sued for revenge porn. Ariana Madix is being sued for revenge porn, and nobody's comparing Ariana to Kenya. Which, on that same note, you can also say, how is Ariana still employed with Bravo if she's being sued for revenge porn, which is a crime? She technically committed a crime. It's an ongoing investigation. Well, I guess there is no investigation because Rachel never pressed criminal charges against either of them. She's just suing them civilly because it's a civil lawsuit. So, but by that same argument, by that same definition, you can't say that Tom Sandoval doesn't deserve to be on television and Ariana Madix does deserve to be on television just because you like Ariana and don't like Tom. And that's not my criticism of Ariana or Tom. I'm just saying by that definition, by that standard, technically Ariana wouldn't be allowed on television either because neither of them have been proven to have committed a crime. Neither of them have been charged criminally. And Rachel isn't pursuing criminal charges against Ariana or Tom. She's just looking for a payday. She wants them to pay her. She wants money as a result of all of this. So if you're going to hold Tom to that standard, you have to hold Ariana to that standard. And I think if you're going to compare the Sandoval situation to the Kenya Moore situation, it would be more fair to charge or to compare Ariana to Kenya because Ariana is the one that's now being held accountable for an accusation of revenge porn, and that's what Kenya's being accused of is revenge porn. But I do agree with you, Nikki B. You can't compare them because California law and Georgia law are very different. I don't know how Georgia defines revenge porn. My understanding is that revenge porn, there is like I believe there's like a national standard for. I may be incorrect about that. I'm not entirely sure. But listen, I know you don't like that answer, but the reality is if you really believe that Tom Sandoval shouldn't be on television for, committing his alleged crime, then you also can't have Ariana hosting Love Island from NBC by that same standard. I know you don't like that because you like Ariana and you want to hate Tom, and that's fair. You're entitled to that. But the reality is, if that's the standard you're going by, then you can't be cheering for Ariana on Love Island because she technically also committed a crime, which has yet to be proven. It's still alleged. These are accusations that Rachel has made against them. That again, there are no criminal charges that have been filed. Just want to clarify that. Mallory says, at this point in modern technology, if I'm doing something sexy for you that isn't being recorded and you record me without knowing, you're gross. Yes. And again, that's why I said there's morality and then there's culpability in legal terms, right? Morality and culpability are two completely different things. It's gross. I don't like that Tom Sandoval did this. However, what laws did he actually break by doing this? It's also I know people have compared it to like when you're not allowed to be recorded on a phone call. I think that's where Rachel has the strongest case because you're not allowed to record a phone call without the other person's permission. So I think she may have a case against that. But eavesdropping and invasion of privacy aren't strong enough claims. Can't say charges because there are no charges that have been filed, even though I want to say charges. But they're at this point just claims. Are they big enough claims to really stick it to him and hold him accountable for it? Even the fines, if he were to be charged criminally, the jail time and the fines, should it even get that far, had he been charged criminally, aren't even like they're what, a couple hundred or a grand, maybe 2 grand. Like, you know, state just doesn't consider them as big of crimes in comparison, you know? Luciana says, I think people who appear on these shows have to realize that any one of them can be replaced or let go, even if they are popular with the fans. Simply, they are subcontractors with rules. Yes, and I agree with you on that. However, my argument to that is, what are the rules? What are the definitions of the rules, right? Because at this point, we don't know what that standard is. The standard is ever evolving and ever changing, and it does get mixed depending on who the star is and what the show is and how much value is brought to the network, right? Oh yeah, Nikki B is talking about California versus Georgia. Yes. Wanda says, but those pictures were available for public. Weren't those from her OnlyFans? So the newbie made those photos in her own consent, though behind a paywall, but still willingly. Yes. Well, any sort of revenge porn is usually created willingly. It's just the distribution or the circulation of them that becomes illegal because there's an understanding that those images or videos are meant to remain private. However, the difference with an OnlyFans photo is that those are protected by copyright. So that's why it wouldn't necessarily, I don't know if it would technically be considered revenge porn as much as it would be a copyright infringement case, which is how a lot of creators um, fight to get their photo anytime somebody shares their photos outside of the OF account, you know? Nikki says Tom is a disgusting pig and she should have filed a criminal case. I agree. If it meant that much to her, I agree. Um, Mallory says, I really don't understand the point of the lawsuit if she wasn't pursuing them criminally. Yeah, money. That's the point of the lawsuit. I feel like it's pretty obvious. She wants money. She says, give me, you guys made money off of Sandoval. I didn't. But again, she didn't make money off of Sandoval based off of her own choices. She chose to not lean into it and not engage. Oh, I remember Kenya, all right. I watched the recent Lifetime movie she was in. The girl is most definitely not an actress. She should hope Bravo brings her back. Yeah, I mean, listen, they all hope that Bravo brings them back. Alyssa says, are Jeff and John hooking up yet? I could see the vibes. And why did you seem uncomfortable? Oh, with the you're referring to Disaster Daters, the first season, right? The last episode we taped for the first season, which was with John Arthur Hill, who many people know. He hosts, God, I forgot the name of his show. He hosts a show on Radio Andy, and he co-hosts with Andy on Radio Andy too. But have Jeff and John hooked up yet? You're gonna have to wait for season 2 to find out. I'm not gonna reveal that. You're gonna have to wait to see. But listen, I don't know if I said it on the show or not on the show. It comes up in season 2. I will tell you. It all comes up because I told Jeff walking out of that studio. I knew very clearly that John Arthur Hill came over to tape Disaster Daters with us because he wanted to bang Jeff. Like that was abundantly clear. And so John and I didn't hit it off because John would not give me the time of day. And when he first came into studio, I think you can hear it at the top of the episode, but I think the prior chatter was edited out. The version that you got that was released, I will tell you, was a heavily edited version of the full version, which Jeff released on his Patreon. Because it was a little too not safe for work to release publicly. So there is a much longer, fuller version that you could go on Jeff's Patreon to access. But coming into the studio, I remember, and this is before I was growing out my facial hair or anything. I had just gone back to my dark hair. I ditched the blonde. We were in studio, and then I forgot how it came up, but I think John somehow I asked John how old he thought I was. And he was like, I don't know. I think you're like a 35. And I was like, 35? You think I look 35? And even Jeff was like, 35. Like, I'm shocked that you think he looks 35. He looks very young. He like looks even boyish because slimmer, whatever. This is months ago. And so that's how we started that interview. And so I was just like, okay, I've never been called. My ego is a little bruised that he said I looked 35, number one. And then number two, I can just tell he was very interested in Jeff, and so all of his energy and attention was only going to Jeff, so I was sitting there like, "Okay, well, this is annoying, like, hello, you're on both of our show, like, at least acknowledge." I don't know, I wasn't the friendliest to him coming into it after he called me 35, so maybe my energy was a little off-putting, I don't know, but if you wanna know if Jeff and John banged or what happened or what the current status of that situation is, you're gonna have to tune into the new season of Disaster Eaters, which premieres July 2nd on all podcast platforms. So, yeah. Um, Ellie says Tom created the revenge porn. Tom did not create the revenge porn. Revenge porn is more of a verb than it is a noun, because it's the act of circulating content that's intended to be private. It's not like you don't make revenge porn, you commit revenge porn, right? It's like you don't make assault and battery, you commit assault and battery. You don't make a robbery, you commit a robbery. It's an action, right? It's more of a verb than a noun. So he didn't create revenge porn. And also, even if revenge porn was a noun, he didn't create revenge porn because in order for it to be revenge porn, there has to be a revenge element to it. You would have to prove that there was intent to use that content to then shame or embarrass somebody for the intent of revenge, right? I don't believe there was any revenge in this case, which the judge agreed with, which is why he dropped the intentional infliction of emotional distress claim. Um, there was no revenge intent behind it. He was using it for his spank bank later. So unfortunately, Tom did not create revenge porn. Mallory says, I heard him say 35, like my BFFR Zaddy is a baby. You look like you're in your late 20s. Thank you, Mallory. I'm now 31 as of Saturday. What a hater. You look like you're in your 20s. That was my point. Is I was like, how do you come in here and like, I don't know. I was like, I'm literally sitting right across from you. You're going to say, look, 35. Jeffrey, who's sitting right next to me, is like, completely disagree with you. Which I was glad to have that vindication. But yeah, I was like, that's not how we're starting this off. So no, I'm not. I wasn't. John Hill and I did not hit it off a little too. I just felt he was a little judgy towards me, and that was fine. Yeah, Kat says revenge porn involves distributing it, and he definitely didn't do that. He wanted the video for private use. Yeah, his spank bank. Elle says, I just woke. Stop giving a lesson. I'm sorry, my love. I'm sorry. I was just explaining it to you because I'm pretty sure other people also are under that impression as well. So I want to make sure I explain it so anybody that is under that impression, we understand it. We all understand it. Yeah, he recorded the video. The distribution was the revenge pornness of it all. Correct. Oh, BFFR is B for fucking real. Thank you. Wanda says, "You look 35." Oh, come on, that's ridiculous. Your features are more boyish than 35. Thank you. I appreciate even now, like you can say maybe I look closer to 35 because I've grown out my facial hair. I put on a lot more muscle mass. Um, I've grown out the body hair a lot more. So like you can now be like, okay, maybe and I'm growing out my white hairs. I'm not covering them up because now my hair is natural. It's not bleached anymore. So you can make that argument maybe a little more now, but not back in February when I had just gone back to my dark hair. I had a very, smooth face. Nikki says, inadvertently, these women are shedding light on how inadequate the laws are around these types of situations. Warn your daughter. I think, if anything, yes, Nikki. If anything, that's the biggest takeaway is we're also now, like, even for me, I'm learning about the law and the criteria about invasion of privacy, eavesdropping, revenge porn, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Even with the Tom Girardi situation, the Brandi Glanville versus Caroline situation, the Leah McSweeney lawsuit, I'm learning a lot. And the more we take inventory of how the law actually works, you learn how the law is or isn't going to be on your side if you ever find yourself in one of these situations. That's the crazy part. I think most people want to fight for the law to be based in morality, and that's not the reality. Okay. Oh, here we go. Mallory says Billy was saying that Sandoval records his fights with Victoria too, so he hasn't learned about two-party consent law. That's where he's going to have the biggest trouble is with two-party consent recording. Um, so yeah, yes, John Hill is an ex of Andy's. So let's talk about Sheena and Billy and all of that drama. Oh, this is a long episode today. So much to talk about. At first, I always go into every episode being like, we're not going to have a lot of content. This may be a short episode. We may have to cap it at 30 minutes. We always end up pushing an hour now. But Lady Rebel says, the moral is keep your clothes on when on video calls. I mean, yeah, morality is subjective. Yep. Legality is supposed to be objective. It is supposed to be objective, but objectivity and morality are not the same thing because morality, yeah, as you said, is subjective. So morality means something different to everybody else. To some people, morality is the death penalty and you deserve to lose your life. And to other people, death is, the death penalty is murder and you're committing another crime on top of the crime that was already committed. So morality is very different. Morality is not reality. Period. Thank you, Brian Scott Patterson. Love you, Brian. Okay. Sheena. So Sheena went on her podcast. I have mixed feelings. I love Shishi, right? I love my girl Sheena, but I do have some mixed feelings about this, about some of the things that she said on her podcast. First, she says that I feel like this is a time when I do kind of see Sheena flip-flopping a little bit. And I adore Sheena. And I know that Sheena comes from a really good place of just wanting to see all sides. However, I do think that the mob mentality of Bravo fans has now gotten to Sheena because I do feel like she's now changing her tone a bit, right? Where she's now saying that she feels like Sandoval. And again, I didn't listen to the actual podcast, I only read the excerpts. But in her most recent podcast episode, I believe was from Thursday, she revealed that Sandoval, she felt like she was duped by Sandoval because in the finale, you see him at the end say that, Ariana storming out of the finale was good for him. And so she's like, now after seeing that, I do feel like he was duped because I was having a conversation with him and I was like, do you care about me or you just care about me for the cameras? And he's like, no, I actually care about you. Yada, yada, yada. Two things can be true, right? He can still like the ego validation of knowing Ariana's going to look bad for walking out of the finale. And at the same time, also still care about Sheena because on top of knowing her for over a decade, he's, also on a show with her. So, Sheena now saying that she feels duped by Sandoval. I feel like, I don't know. I think she's trying to appease the Bravo fans, and the Bravo fans don't like Sandoval and they do like Ariana. So she also is kind of changing her tune towards Ariana as well because she was saying that like, I disagree with Lala saying that Ariana didn't give her 100% because I feel like Ariana did give her 100%, but that was just what she was capable of giving at her 100% and she was dealing with trauma and like, she was really trying to tie herself into a pretzel to defend Ariana, which again, I now understand because I'm like, I get it. The fans are rabid and the way that they're coming after Lala. I mean, even in just my defense of being like, hey guys, maybe don't come after a pregnant woman as hard as you are. Like, it's insane how some of the fans have reacted. So I get why she would just buckle and be like, fuck it. What do you want me to say? I'll be, you tell me what I'm supposed to believe and I'll do it. Just leave me alone. Stop beating me up. And I think like, listen, that does weigh on you at some point. So I understand it. I was a little disappointed because to me, it does kind of feel like now she is flip flopping. And I've always defended Sheena and being like, I don't think she's a flip flop. I just think she likes to look at both sides of the coin. But in this case, I feel like, I don't know, she's going very hard in like drawing a line in the sand and saying that she doesn't really talk to Sandoval and she's not friends with Sandoval. And like now she's like really going out of her way to talk about that she's not friends with Sandoval and how she does support Ariana and she believes Ariana gave the best. I don't believe Ariana gave the best that she possibly could to the show. I just don't. I think that Ariana could have, even if it wasn't with Sandoval directly, I feel like there was more to Ariana's life that she could have given us. That I don't like. I think Lala's point about being like Ariana shut down so many conversations Lala would try to ask questions and Ariana would shut it down. Now, is that hypocritical of Lala? Yes, it's hypocritical of Lala, based off of Lala's past, but also we are allowed to change and evolve, and hopefully Lala moves forward in that direction. But I do agree that like there were things that Ariana could have done or conversations that she could have had that didn't necessarily need to lean into Sandoval specifically. But like one of my favorite scenes with Ariana was when she was honest and vulnerable with Sheena and Lala about losing her house and how that was her dream house and she doesn't feel like it's fair that Tom gets to keep that. That was real. That actually made me understand why she's holding on to the house so strongly, right? So I was a little disappointed to see Sheena kind of teeter on that line a little bit, but she didn't say anything negative about Lala. So she seems to be, maintaining her loyalty towards her friendship with Lala, but also really giving a lot more grace and compassion to Ariana. I do agree with Lala, though. I think Ariana could have given us more, and it didn't have to be Sandoval specifically. Yeah, not paid by anyone says Ariana gave the bare minimum. She really did. She didn't give us, outside of her scenes with Sandoval this season, where she's yelling at him or chopping him down. Those were great scenes because that was real, raw emotion that she was delivering in that moment. Okay. Mallory says, I don't like when people on the show feel like they have to be the one to drive the storyline. I agree, but if nobody's putting in the work, then like somebody does. That's usually when, somebody's like, okay, well, we have to carry something, and then when you have the producers putting pressure on people, you know. Pregnant women have so many hormones running through their body. It's not an excuse, it's a life. That's true in that. Yeah, I agree with that. Brian said Ariana did exactly what VPR second tier cast members earned. Um, Ariana did exactly what Vanderpump Rules second tier cast member earned. I don't know what that means, but I want to agree with that, but I don't know. CL says if you don't want to show your life, then don't be on the show. Easy. Yeah, I agree. Laura says Ariana had a lot of excuses, but not a lot of content. Yeah, there were a lot of boundaries, but not a lot of content. And I stand by all my comments about that. Funny, Kate Casey even agreed with me because I was talking about how I think when reality stars set too strict of boundaries, it hinders the show because then we don't get to see your life. And Kate Casey commented on my TikTok. I like Kate Casey. She's a good friend of mine. We text all the time. But she commented on my TikTok. She's like, I agree. And I was like, thank you. I feel like I'm not a cuckoo bird anymore. I feel like there are sane people in this world still. Kate actually knows unscripted television. She like studies it as if she needs to create a masterclass in unscripted television. But anyway, let's talk about Sheena and Billie. So Shishi is dogging out Billie. So first of all, she comments on the Billie versus Victoria, Tom Sandoval's girlfriend drama that's been unfolding over the last 2 weeks. Sheena says that Billie is a known liar, but she said from everything that I've heard, there's a lot of lies that Billie has been caught in, and I think will continue to be caught in. I think she maybe had her own idea of how things were going to go when Tom and Ariana broke up, and maybe she thought that she was just going to scoot on in or she was just going to scoot on it, but that didn't happen. And then Victoria came in the picture. So maybe there's some jealousy. I don't know, but I don't like her. So she thinks that Billie is jealous of Victoria because she thinks Billie wanted a piece of Sandoval when Ariana was out of the picture. Now, Billie's denied this, but I mean, we heard the rumors about Tom and Billie. They've denied them. Is it possible? I've said this before because people have accused Kyle Chan of possibly having feelings for Tom. People have accused Billie of having feelings for Tom. I don't know. I don't know their intimate relationships with Tom specifically. I know Kyle Chan has a fiance, but I don't know. Billie's side of things does seem a little more credible in comparison to Victoria's, but all we've heard from Victoria was when she did the YouTube interview. So to me and she wasn't very coherent in that and she didn't lay out any solid arguments. So from what we have Billie's side of the story and then we have Victoria's side of the story and Victoria doesn't look credible. Billie sounds at least her arguments and her, explanations of things definitely seem more credible. Sheena is team Kyle Chan. I think so. I mean, well, listen, Kyle Chan's a good friend of theirs. I would understand that. Ted with Tambo said Ariana called the producers and cameras were unpacked and she gave nothing. So over Vanderpump Rules. Um, called the producers and cameras were unpacked. I mean, she did give a lot in last season in the finale and in the reunion. Wanda says, "Oh, come on, everyone with their eyes can see that Billie Lee is into Tom. Not sure if anyone, but she definitely was last year." I wouldn't be I'm not ruling that out. I think that's very possible. Aspen says, "You're wrong." Oh, I love when I'm wrong. "You're wrong. Bravo played off the tape of Rachel. Bravo continues to film regarding the subject matter." So which part am I wrong about? Nikki B says Billie Lee was watching and listening for years. Watching and listening for what? I believe Billie, that's not that far off. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't like Billie, but I tend to believe her in this scenario. I think Billie Lee and Tom have played Find the Trombone. Oh, they played Find the Trombone, but Billie Lee didn't do anything to Tom. Oh, or T, the girl that Tom was dating, because T is defending Billie Lee. Annette says that's the point. It's reality TV. I'm so confused. What's the point? Mallory says, it really seems to me like Billie and Victoria are blaming each other when Sandoval is the common denominator. I think Sandoval lies and then blames Billie or Victoria and pins them against each other. Maybe. I think he's probably playing both sides, right? He's telling Billie one thing, he's telling Victoria another. But listen, from the things that I have heard about Tom's relationship with Victoria, it doesn't sound like it's a good one and it doesn't sound healthy. And Sheena's kind of alluding to this in her podcast as well. She's like, I don't know the relationship. I haven't been around them. But I don't know. It doesn't sound like Sheena's a fan of Victoria either, but she doesn't know Victoria very well. Aspen says Tom should have been placed on pause until the court case is completed. Tom made ratings for Bravo instead of protecting Rachel and Ariana. There were no criminal charges that were filed, though. That's the point. Is there has not been a crime that has been committed because he wasn't arrested for any crimes. Yeah, like I don't think he should have been placed on there also is no court case against him. There's a civil lawsuit against him, but there is no court case against him. Bravo turns their backs on the women on Vanderpump Rules. I don't think they turned their back on Ariana. She just won Critics' Choice Award for Best Female Reality Star. So I disagree with that assessment. Linda George says, "What did Lala or Sheena give you besides picking on Katie?" And we're not going to get into that again. I've already gone into that. We've gone over their storyline. Like we're not going to rehash that again. Cassie says Rachel waited over a year before filing anything. She waited until the day the statute of limitations was about to expire, like within 24 hours. She waited until that final day and filed a civil lawsuit. No charges pressed against them. Nikki B says, Zach, Tom doesn't have a phone, so the timing of Billie Lee is perfect. I know, right? He's going to come back to a shit show for sure. Irene says, Sandoval sure loves these women fighting over him. It's what he's done all along on the show. I mean, I think anybody that has a big ego enjoys when there seems to be some sort of dispute over them. I agree with that. Wanda Lee says, wasn't the filming already ended before Rachel sued Tom? Yes, I believe so. Because filming wrapped like in August of last year. And Rachel filed her lawsuit in March. Sandoval loves attention, good or bad. Yes, I agree, Cassie. Okay, and then we can very briefly touch on this because I'm probably gonna piss some of you guys off with this too. But Critics' Choice Awards, Critics' Choice Reality TV Awards. Sorry. So congrats to Ariana. As I mentioned, she's won Female Star of the Year at the Critics' Choice Reality TV Awards, and then Alan Cummings has won Male Star of the Year. And you know what? I disagree with both of these choices. I understand the PR side of it and like why they pick certain people, and it's more like it's the same reason they picked Khloe Kardashian year after year is because they wanted the Kardashians to show up at the People's Choice Awards, right? But so Ariana, I believe, won last year as Female Star of the Year or like favorite reality star of the year. And listen, she deserved the win last year because I think she gave a stellar performance at the Sandoval finale and a stellar performance at the reunion, even though people were mad at me. or sorry, mad at her because they're like, you're being mean to Rachel and you're bullying her. I was like, she gave a stellar performance, and I heavily defended Ariana through all of that last year. And I thought she deserved Reality Star of the Year. Now, this year, not so much. I feel like she didn't deliver this season on Vanderpump Rules in comparison to other reality stars that, could have won this award. So I think it was, listen, I don't feel like she gave much as a reality star. However, as a TV host, I would say she's fucking killing it right now at Love Island. Her outfits look great. She's serving when she walks on camera. Her hosting skills are way better. I'm all for setting boundaries. She delivered on that. Yes, but boundaries don't make a good reality show. Okay. She's fucking killing it on Love Island. I think she's found her new, like, if she wants to leave reality TV, like Vanderpump Rules, she definitely has a strong skill set as a host. We've never seen her in a host role before, but I think just the way that she's able, like, listen, I've been hosting in multiple different, arenas, live streaming, pre-recorded, in studio, on the streets, on stage, at festivals, at conferences that are more stuffy, I've done it all. And so I noticed the technicalities of hosting in other people, and I can say she really nailed it. She's doing a very good job for somebody that doesn't have a background in hosting. Great skill set. I think maybe even better than Sarah Hyland. Well, listen, Sarah Hyland could never do what Ariana's doing. Like, Sarah couldn't deliver on the looks and like, Ariana just brings like hot, sexy vibes to Love Island. So next year, maybe if we want to put her up for, reality star or best reality host, I think I would agree with that. I think that is a well-earned title. Reality star of the year, I would disagree. Because I just don't think she gave very much on Vanderpump Rules. That said, I also don't think Alan Cummings is the one that deserved male star of the year for reality TV. I just don't think he's an entertaining personality. I think he's funny and he's fun to watch as the host of The Traitors, but I don't think he's a great reality star because most of his lines are written for him by writers. And so he kind of just comes on and plays a character and delivers his lines and has really cute outfits. And so I don't know why I'm looking for a man in finance, trust fund, blue eyes, finance. But I don't think Alan Cummings deserved male star of the year either. But I get Traitors is popular, Alan's popular. I just don't think he's a great reality star because we've never seen him as a reality star. We've seen him as a host, but even his role as a host, a lot of his lines are read, and he's an actor, so he knows how to deliver those lines. He's a great actor, which helps him in his hosting. But I do agree that the Traitors won Best Ensemble Cast. That I agree with because they won for season 1, which was well deserved, and they definitely deserved in season 2 because I think the season 2 cast was even better than the season 1 cast. And season 1 was great. Season 2 just knocked it out of the park. So there's a high standard. Who are some of the other reality stars do you think that are more deserving? I mean, I know you're not gonna like it, but I think Lala did better this season on Vanderpump Rules than Ariana did. I mean, listen, you could even say Tom Sandoval deserved Reality Star of the Year more because I think he gave a lot more on the show this season, if you want to put it in Vanderpump Rules terms. I mean, or there could be how. I mean, Dorinda wasn't on TV, huh? Listen, she's when I think of a great reality star, I think of vulnerability, I think of story, I think of like raw emotion on camera, good and bad. I think of entertaining television. I think they keep us captivated and want me to watch more of them. Katie and Ariana's scenes, I fucking fast forwarded because they were fucking boring. Unless Ariana was there with Sandoval and there was that, like, protagonist, antagonist, she was, chopping his balls off, then that was compelling, but we didn't get a lot of that. We only got that begrudgingly out of her. Whereas her scenes with Katie where they're just snarling and like looking through sandwich menus, like, you're gonna tell me you were captivated by that? Like, bullshit. I think you're fucking delusional if you think that those were compelling reality television scenes. Let's see. Chloe's always gotten in the past. I don't know if Chloe really. Well, the Tristan cheating. No, I guess that was the prayer season. I don't know. I do think Lala, Phaedra. There you go. There you go, Archipi. Phaedra was a great fucking reality star in season 2 of The Traitors, and if The Traitors was up for grabs, Phaedra should have won the award. It should have gone to Phaedra. No, take Lala off the table. Phaedra should have gotten that award. Thank you. Give me some names, and I'll be like, yes, I like them, or no, I don't like them. But Phaedra is the reason The Traitors slapped. Yep. Phaedra deserved female reality star of the year. But guess what? Phaedra didn't get cheated on and isn't having the whole world eat her coochie. But Phaedra deserves that. Annette says, in my mid 40s, but I don't understand these old hosts for love competition shows. Nick Lachey and Ariana aren't these kids' peers. It's weird. I mean, true, but Erica Jane is always, yeah, I think Erica was a great, she gave a great story arc from the Aspen season to the most recent season, which I believe was within the reality sphere. Like that whole story arc and Bet It All on Blonde and all that. Great story, right? Nick Lachey and Vanessa Lachey. Well, I mean, most of their peers aren't hosting these reality shows. They have like, I mean, I hate to say it, with exception for Ariana, but Nick Lachey needs the show to stay relevant, and nobody in their age demo is going to be hosting Love Is Blind. Like they have other more pressing jobs that they're actually tending to at the moment. They're not going to host it. And I also feel like younger hosts don't work. Remember they tried to have Liza Koshy host things and she just didn't land. They gave her didn't they give her her own talk show? And then she she did New Year's Rockin' Eve after Jenny McCarthy exited, and it just didn't land. I think the younger hosts just don't work. Monica Garcia. Ooh, that's another good reality star of the year. Monica delivered. Monica was fucking great. With that season of Salt Lake City, Monica was great. Oof. Yeah. It was great. Phaedra was robbed. She really was. Kenya was trying to get that award. Well, I don't think she's gonna get it now. Kenya will be eligible next year. Nope. Do you know, Luciana says, do you know how long filming has been paused for Vanderpump Rules? No, I don't think anybody knows. I think they're just waiting it out right now. Monica was so funny. I love her. I wish she was still on Salt Lake. Listen, she was great, but I understand why they fired her. Brian says, if we're in our stop it with the continued shit era, stop Oppenheimer, Orange County. I like Orange County. As in Real Housewives of Orange County? Yeah. Unpopular opinion, I hate when older celebrities or singers just can't retire. Why do they need to retire? Some of them need a job. That's like saying I hate the bitch at Walgreens that's working at the register because she's old. Let her work. She shouldn't be retired if she still wants to work. Let the bitch work. Let her ring me up. Right? Ching ching. Let her. Right? Tammy, I need another Casamigos Reposado. She'll get her little cane and walk on over there and clock it on open. I said it was an unpopular opinion. I know, but I'm just saying, don't be ageist against the old people. You sound ageist and racist. I just know that. Well, actually, no. People have gotten away from the racist, calling people racist, weaponizing the term. And now you're just anti-women. That's the new thing. You're misogynist. You're anti-women. So, you know what? Kat, you're anti-women. Val says, no one can retire these days. It's too damn expensive to live, period. Elle says, you do not look like you're 35. He was just lying to you. Yeah, he was just, yeah. I know. He was just, yeah. I know exactly what he was doing. Irene says, well, this is why God created different colors and flavors and types for us to all choose from and decide. God said it's 31 flavors. Different flavors. Ooh, we all taste very different. Brian says, don't you mean at the bodega where I have my orange drink? If you know, you know. Kat says, my husband hates pregnant women on TV. I'm sure. Listen, they're not always fun to watch on TV unless they're like Octomom, you know? Name them. Who are we naming? Okay. Any final thoughts, feelings, vibes before we wrap? Laura says there's a place for washed up celebrities. There's infomercials. Nobody watches infomercials anymore. Tiffany says people need to stop labeling people and mind their own business, if you know what I mean. I agree. Worry about taking care of your house and not mine. Period. That's right. Tiffany came in with a mic drop. Oh, Irene says I look 25. Thank you. Okay. Thank you guys. I love you. Wow, this was an extra long episode of No Filter with Zack Peter. Booty, 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 rocking everywhere, rocking everywhere, rocking everywhere. I found you, Miss New Booty. Okay. Thank you guys for listening to No Filter with Zack Peter. Like I said, new season of Disaster Daters starts July 2nd. So catch up now. You can tune in on Spotify or Apple, or you can also watch on YouTube. There's a whole playlist on my YouTube channel that has all of the season 1 episodes that you can binge now on YouTube. It's available to watch. So go binge all 6 of those episodes right now and get ready for season 2. Schwartzy is going to be on our premiere day, which is July 2nd. So get ready. July 2nd, Disaster Daters returns. It's going to be fun. Let's have some fun. This beat is sick. I want to take a ride on your disco stick. Subscribe now. Give me a follow, Just Plain Zack, all over the internet. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack and stay tuned. New episodes drop. We stream new episodes of No Filter Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. And then they're available on all podcast platforms. And then I have the Pop Report, which drops new episodes every Wednesday and Friday. So, boom, get ready for it. Wednesday, new episode of the Pop Report. Watch it now. Wow, so much content. I'm just like busting out the content. It's like bust down Tatiana. Let me see you bust down. All right. Thank you guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Happy Father's Day. Happy birthday to me. And I will talk to you guys later. Leave me a nice Apple Podcast review if you're enjoying the podcast. Okay. Love you. Mean it. Bye.